Hey, hey, hey. It's your girl, Detra Trueheart, and you know what today is. If you didn't know what today is, it's Tuesday Tea with D.A. Tuesday Tea with D.A. Tuesday Tea with D.A. Tuesday Tea with D. 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 Hey, it's your girl, Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, and I Speak Life mentor with another serving this week of Tuesday Tea with D. And today's conversation and today's question is called, Who are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? Now, before I even get into that, and before I even, talk a little bit about um, what this episode or who is sponsoring this episode, I want to talk a little bit about today's tea, which is just lemon water. I'm back with another week of lemon water. Really just in a process of kind of detoxing myself, but also trying to be more intentional with drinking water. And so this week's tea is actually lemon water. Do you drink lemon water? Let me know in the comments if you drink lemon water. I want to know. Respond back to me. And if not, you should try it. It's good for you. It's good for your digestion. They say you should drink one in the morning, a cup in the morning, and a cup in the evening, just, so that your body can kind of recalibrate. So that's what we're drinking today. But this week's episode is brought to you by iSpeaklife Live. As you all know, we are literally, depending upon when you are watching this, 10 days away from iSpeaklife Live, my 3-day empowerment experience for women, happening December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And you need to be in the place. You can get details at iSpeaklifelive.com, iSpeaklifelive.com, but it is going to be amazing. And guess what? If you're on my email list, I have a special Black Friday special coming out this week, and you'll actually be able to get a ticket probably at the lowest price that it's ever going to be at, probably because ticket sales are ending this week as well, but then also because it's next week. So if you're not on my email list, make sure you get on my email list, and also make sure you go to iSpeaklifelive.com to check out all the details so that you can be in the know about what is coming up. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this conversation. Who are you doing this for? Well, it's the holiday season. And so they've been playing Rocky and Creed like back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And they do it every year. And if you don't know anything about me, I love Rocky. I watch all the Rocky movies. My favorites are 3, 4, and 5. And my son loves Creed. And so we end up watching Creed 1 and 2. And he can't wait for Creed 3 to come out. But I was watching Creed yesterday, and one of the things that I remember paying attention to, and it was Creed 2, and it's about Drago's son. If y'all remember Rocky 4, Rocky and Drago. Drago's the one who killed Apollo. Okay, y'all have to go back and check that out. But Drago's son and Creed are now fighting. And I remember the point at the end of the movie where it was like midway, where his mom, the wife of the previous wife of Drago, she walks out. But then at the end, the son just kind of cries because in his mind, not only did he not win the fight, but you could tell he was kind of defeated. You could tell that there was kind of like, he had been doing all of this really to redeem his dad's name. And his dad was kind of like putting this pressure on him to win this fight and kind of redeem their name simply because he lost to Rocky multiple years ago. And I started to think to myself that this poor boy, and we've all been there, right? I don't know about you, but I have in some instances where we're doing things for somebody else, right? And so my question to you is like, who are you doing this for? Right? Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for God? Are you doing it for other people? And who exactly? Like, who exactly are you doing it for? Right? Like, are you doing it, for the job? Or maybe what are you doing it for? I could also say, like, are you doing it for the job? Are you, doing it for, like, what's the motivation behind the job, the business, even just, your lifestyle, your relationships? Like, what's the motivation? Why are you doing it? Because I find that a lot of times we go to school because our parents told us, you're going to go to school, you're going to get married, you're going to get the job, you're going to retire, right? And then we go to school, we get married, we get the job, and we realize that specifically we go to school and we realize that what we went to school for, we really don't want to do. or we decide that we go into a specific career because people say, oh, you could get good benefits and you can do all the things, and you get into it and you like, I don't even like doing this, I don't like these people, I don't like this job, I don't like any of it, and my only motivation is because it's good money and it's good benefits, but I'm miserable. I'm just saying, right? I want to encourage you to think about why you're doing what you're doing, right? And I get it. Like sometimes, like some of the things that I'm doing are for legacy building, right? I'm doing it for my son. I'm doing it to make sure that, some of the things that I'm struggling with, he won't have to struggle with. Some of the things that, like they're things that he just won't have to want for anything. And I believe that that was the motivation for my parents, right? So there's certain things that they did and certain sacrifices they made for me, right? And vice versa for my son. But there's some things that for me, I'm doing because I want God to get the glory, right? It's not for anything else other than I want God to get the glory. The things that I'm doing because I want God to be pleased, right? And then there's some things that I'm doing for me, right? In a season where I'm not necessarily concerned about what other people think. I'm not necessarily concerned about other people's opinions. I'm not concerned about, whether it makes sense to other people, but that I'm doing it because I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or it gives me peace, or it makes me happy, or it allows me to be able to stay healthy and sane and all of those things. And so my question to you really is, who are you doing this for? Right? You're pursuing the degree, you're pursuing the relationship, you're, the business, the job, the lifestyle, like whatever it is, even the money, like you're pursuing all of this stuff. And my question is who exactly are you doing it for? Now, I really want to encourage you, because sometimes we have to make sure that what we're doing is in alignment with what God wants us to do, right? And I'll be honest, it's some things that God got me out here doing, and I'm like, I would prefer not to. Can I be honest? I would prefer not to. I would prefer to just be chilling. I just would prefer not to, right? But I'm doing it because I love God and I know that God has my best interest at heart, and He would never lead me into anything that would forsake me or that would harm me or that will cause evil to me. And so I trust Him. But in the end, whether I'm doing it for me or whether I'm doing it for God or whether I'm doing it for my son, my question to you is to really examine what's the motivation, what's the motive behind what you're doing, because sometimes you can find yourself giving a resentful yes. The last couple of weeks I've been talking about no being a form of self-care and yes being a form of self-care. And so a lot of times you can give a resentful yes, meaning that you give the yes and you walk away like, I don't even know why I did that. I should have said no. And you really give the yes out of obligation as opposed to giving the yes out of alignment, right? And so I want to encourage you to make sure that you're not like, Drago's son, who's out here training and to some extent basically trying to redeem his dad's loss. And so he loses a certain number of years in his life doing something for somebody else because he's living his dad's dream. Are you living somebody else's dream? Are you pursuing something because you feel obligated to bring it to fruition because they couldn't bring it to fruition? I want to challenge you to examine that. Most times, if I'm having conversations with coaching clients, my question will say, well, who said that you can't do that? Or who said that you're supposed to do it this way? Or who's like, where does that come? Where does that thought process come from? Where does that ideology come from? Because a lot of times how we think and how we move is based on how we've been conditioned. And sometimes it can be helpful, but many times it can be hurtful because it's limiting. There's a block there, there's a ceiling there. And so you only think that you can do a certain thing to the extent that people say you can, as opposed to God. We always talk about Ephesians 3:20, where God is the God that can do exceeding abundantly above all that we could ask or think. But then you limit your thoughts and you limit your ask. And so again, I ask you, who exactly are you doing this for? Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for God? Or are you doing it for other people? Or is it a combination? And let me just tell you that there's no right or wrong reason. No right or wrong answer. But the bottom line is this: you need to check and double check to make sure that your motives and everything that you are doing are in alignment with your heart and in alignment with the purpose and the plan that God has on your life. Period. If people have you doing things that is not in alignment with where God would have you and what God has you doing, child, stop doing it. If it's out of alignment and it's causing more havoc in your life and it's causing more hurt in your life and it's causing more chaos in your life, child, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Take some time. And the last couple of weeks, I've been giving you journal prompts. And so with those journal prompts, this week, I want you to ask the question, who are you doing this for? The things that you desire, the things that you're doing, your job, your career, your family, all of those things. And if at any point in time you are not a part of that equation, I want you to decide to recreate that narrative and how you can incorporate you, right? And most importantly, God, back into that story, back into that narrative, and back into that reason. If nothing else, everything that we do should be bringing glory to God. And if nothing else, everything that you do, and I'm going to put an amendment in that, because sometimes everything that we do, when God asks us to do it, we may not necessarily feel good about it. But the things that are in relation to you and your well-being and your self-care and your mental health and all of those things, make sure you are doing it for you. So many times, y'all know, my job is to help you show up for you in the same way that you show up for other people. And so when you're showing up for other people, what's the motivation? Make that motivation be the same motivation for you showing up for you. All right, I'm done. I'm going to close out with this really quickly. Just again, this is your personal invitation to I Speak Life Live 2022, happening next weekend, December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Go to the iSpeakLifeLive.com website, get all of the details. And again, make sure you're on my website, on my email list, so that you can get access to the Black Friday offer that is going to be dropping this week. And again, if you've been planning to join me, if you've been hesitating on joining me, if you've been procrastinating, if you've just been going through analysis paralysis, this is your reason why you got to be there. I'm leaving you without excuse. So again, thank you for joining me for another edition and another serving of Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Tuesday Tea with D. Have an amazing week. Have an amazing holiday for those of us in the United States. We are celebrating Thanksgiving this week, so make sure you take some time to be in gratitude around all the things that you can be grateful for. God has been amazing to us. If he never does another thing, let's just remember that he has already done enough, right? So be grateful, be thankful, and have an amazing week. And I will see you next time on Tuesday Tea with D.